Hello and welcome to the Cal Career Center at UC Berkeley. This is a three-part video series in which we are preparing college-level job seekers to evaluate and negotiate job offers with confidence. This is the second video of the series in which we will be giving you some tips on how to prepare to negotiate. If you're watching this video, I assume it's because you either have a job offer in your hand and you're considering negotiating, or you hope you will someday. So for some of you, you may be thinking to yourself, if I'm in a situation in which I've finally received a job offer, why would I negotiate? Won't that put my offer in jeopardy? It also sounds kind of rude, maybe uncomfortable. We'll stop right there. It is a job seekers market in 2019. There are more jobs out there than job seekers, and that means a shortage of talent. If you've received an offer, they want you. They've already invested a lot in you, and that means you have leverage. If you check out this infographic put out through a collaboration between NerdWallet and Look Sharp, you'll see some pretty compelling numbers. First of all, and I mentioned this in the first video as well, the majority of college students don't try negotiating. That means that, again, there's a lot left on the table because if you see that green box, 74% of employers claim to have room to increase their first offer by 5 to 10% during negotiations. In addition, 90% of employers claim to have never retracted an offer because an entry-level candidate tried to negotiate, and 80% of students and grads reported success if they did negotiate, or at least partial success. In addition to some of these numbers, young workers, or those with 0 to 2 years of experience, are 42% more likely to be underpaid, according to a PESA study. And in addition to that, negotiating salary at the point of a job offer is when you'll have the most leverage. Once you take the job, you won't have as much to bargain with. Women are also statistically less likely to negotiate because either it's viewed as confrontational or rude, or imposter syndrome. They don't believe that they deserve to be paid more than their counterparts. Because of this, this is keeping college grads out of the pool of resources that employers actually do have. And plain and simple, if you don't ask, you won't get it. Now that you're thoroughly convinced of the merits of considering negotiating, it's important to do your homework. Arm yourself with data when deciding if and how you're going to negotiate. Salary research will help you understand how your current offer compares to market rates. There are a number of different ways that you can do salary research. A couple of the resources that we've also included in the description of this video are our Career Destination Survey, in which we survey all graduating seniors on where they've gone and their salaries, available on the Career Center's website and inside this link, Glassdoor.com, Salary.com, Payscale.com, LinkedIn Salary, which is a fairly new resource via LinkedIn, Angel.co/salaries, which is typical salaries in startups and small companies. And lastly, talk to your network. Don't be afraid to ask questions, especially of your fellow recent grads. The second piece of your research should be on you, your value. It's very important to inventory your value to the company so you can plan your talking points at the negotiations table. Think about things like making a list of the unique skills and experience you have to offer. What sets you apart from the other candidates they're considering? And what is your potential? How will you be able to help the organization reach its goals? By thinking through these things, it will help you when you actually sit down at the negotiations table and they ask, why are you asking for this? Or why are you worth this negotiating factor? If you have determined that negotiating your salary is a worthwhile consideration based on the research that you've done, then the best way to approach the conversation is with a salary range that is reflective of the market research you did, keeping in mind that a company will probably not negotiate more than a 10 to 15% raise for entry-level candidates. When presenting a range, you want to keep in mind things like the industry rate for new grads, the cost of living and the location that you'll be at, your skills and experience, and the company type, i.e., if you're looking at a nonprofit organization, a position there may pay much differently than the same type of position in a Fortune 500 company like Google, for instance. You also want to be prepared to back up your salary goal with your skills, experience, and the value that you have to offer the company. When determining your goals, it's also important to look at some of the other components of the job offer, which I covered in video 1, which you might want to also consider negotiating. Before walking into the negotiations conversation, it's important to be committed to and be confident in your parameters. What is your aspiration point, or what are the ideal scenarios that you're hoping to walk away with? That includes your salary range, the goals that you've created, and also other items in the job description or the job offer, which you might be able to negotiate in addition to or aside from salary that would help you feel more confident taking the job. It's also important to know your resistance point. In what scenarios would you be willing to walk away? What will that be like? It's important to actually practice having that conversation, because the worst case scenario would be accepting a job that you're not happy with. This might require you to walk away from a job offer without another offer in hand, which is a risk, but also much better than accepting an offer in which you do not feel is reflective of your value. That's it for this video on preparing to negotiate. The next video, we will cover negotiation guidelines and examples. And as always, follow us on social media at Cal Career Center to access more resources for Cal students and community members.